The dust has kind of settled a bit on the January transfer window. How do you assess the business you've been able to do?
Yeah, I think over the course of December, if you actually look at it from a month perspective, I think to take in the Swedish goalkeeper of the year, Tony Watt, Kevin McDonald and Tim Akinola, in addition to a couple of bodies going out, I think it was a successful transfer window. We also had a couple of bids rejected and turned down at the latter part of the window that would have gave the squad even more healthy competition, but sometimes that's the nature of the window. You don't always get every single player that you go after, but I think we recruited well, and we've now got what we've got moving down, approaching the home straight, and I'm really content with what we have.
Okay, on subject of the transfer window, was one of the better things to come out of it, not who you got, but who you didn't lose, as Benji's still here obviously at the end of the season?
Yeah, definitely. I think the type of club that we are and the contractual situations of some of our important players, you did have it in the back of your mind that there was maybe going to be an opportunity for one of them or a couple of them to go. Now Jondo has been a top performer for us, but he just felt that this was the right time for him to seek pastures new. And then we as a club have to consider his contractual situation and protect the club, and still having Benji's services and obviously a few others and adding to the squad. I feel like we've actually come out the other side, pretty well equipped to attack the rest of the season.
Is this something that's going to prolong with Benji, where there's going to be talks to hopefully keep him here past the summer?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there always will be talks. It's just trying to find the balance of allowing Benji to focus on his training and his games, because I think over the last 2 or 3 games in particular, I think Benji's been a really strong performer for us. So it's just trying to strike the balance between him knowing that we would love to keep him. He's a huge player and person at this football club, but we also need to respect the fact that he needs space to concentrate on his job, which is to keep clean sheets, and that's something he's doing just now.
And certainly the defence, as well as Benji, over the last couple of games have done a particularly good job keeping Dundee out, obviously, to no goals. Celtic limit them with their 21 shots, obviously, to just a single goal. I mean, that must be pleasing for you from your point of view from the defence.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you actually look at the form that we were in around about the Christmas period and the December period, I think now being able to put together a couple of wins, stay in the Scottish Cup, have a couple of clean sheets, it probably gives us a platform now to really focus on the performance, because I think in the first 2/3 of the season so far we were playing really well, playing some exciting football, and there was an intensity and an energy to our game that the fans were really enjoying. That's probably the final bit that just now needs to come back, which players are well aware of. I'm certainly aware of that, and there seems to be a motivation to get back to playing the football that we know that the fans have become accustomed to. So that's just a final part for us to focus on now.
Moving away from the defence to the other part of the park, basically up front, it must be disappointing for you for the last 2 games that Dundee United haven't recorded a shot on target during these 2 games, with the defensive show obviously being so good.
Yeah, partly circumstantial if you actually look at the performance at Celtic. For as much as we had a game plan at Celtic, the game plan is never to go and set off. Yes, you might need to be a little bit more kind of diligent with your attack and play and utilise the counter attack a bit more. But I think in both the games against Celtic and Dundee, we probably rejected some good opportunities to sustain and prolong attacks, to actually maybe take a few more risks, to put crosses into the box. And that sometimes just happens in kind of periods of the season where you don't take as many risks, but that's something I'm quite keen to impress on the players. That's when we're at our best, taking those risks in the final third and actually allowing our creative players to go and take some gambles. So it's a style of football I like to see us getting back to pretty quickly, because it helps the team.
You're heading up to McDiarmid Park, which is quite a big park at the McDiarmid. A lot of people know that the dimensions of McDiarmid are actually exactly the same as Hampden Park, so
Right.
it gives you a lot more grassed area to go. And do you feel that that's something that you can exploit when you go up there to face St Johnstone this weekend?
Yeah, I think you always take these things into consideration. I think McDiarmid Park for me is, and the one experience I've got there, is a very tight affair. St Johnstone at the time were just on the back of their European exploits at the time. They still had a lot of players that they've now actually sold. So expecting another tough game. But also from our perspective, we're starting to get to that kind of season defining stage of the season where you could, for our targets trying to get into the top 6, we can capitalise on the game tomorrow next week, and then obviously the Scottish show. It's quite a big week for us. So yeah, the dimensions are important, the opposition's important, but I think for us it's about focusing on where we want to get to, and it just represents a really big 3 points for us tomorrow.
Just looking at the team in general, how are the players coming along for this fixture? Do you have any problems? I mean, this week and next week are the last 2 weeks, you're going to have midweek games, and then you get a wee break from that. So
yeah, it's been a really busy period. I think we've used the squad really diligently. I think the majority of the squad have contributed to the performances and the results. And I think it's only really Kieran Freeman that we've actually lost from the other night with a bit of a muscular problem. Charlie Mulgrew's tracking well, but everyone's just in that kind of frame of mind that they want to be on the pitch, they want to be competing, and they want to be helping the team get to where we want to get to.
just one last thing, obviously, about the team captain. Obviously, has there been an extra buzz in his step over the last week or so since certain family events have taken place?
Yeah, definitely. And look, over the last period, we've actually tried our best to support Ryan. His partner Megan is still in Liverpool, so he missed the Hibs game. I think that was on Boxing Day because there was some developments then. So as you can imagine, he's bright-eyed just now. I think that will change when he's doing overnight feeds and such like. But you can just imagine he's a guy with a lot of love, and there's certainly a lot of love for that little girl that he's just had.
What does Kevin McDonald, with 500 games plus in England, bring to Dundee United?
I mean, obviously, I've got a wealth of experience. I class myself as a good footballer. I'm a good football technical player. Never been one for running around all over the pitch. You know, I'm not like that type of player. I like to be kind of in control of the game as such. So I look to bring a calmness to the team, and as you said before, is help the young boys through games and situations where they're probably not so sure on. And I know these type of things, and especially after looking at them more coaching, even know them even more now.
And again, obviously, you had a couple of options open to you during this period when you were coming back. What was it with Dundee United that made you tick the box and say that's where I'm going?
Well, first and foremost, the pool was to come home from obviously from being down south for 15 years. That was the pool. So the clubs in the most local areas were always our first go-tos. That's why obviously we trained at all three of them. And in the end, I liked the facilities. I liked the setup of the club. I liked the structure was all in place, and you know it's a club that it's the club where the right decision making is going only in one direction. So these type of things mean a lot to me when I'm coming to choose a football team, and I felt right at the time, and here we are.
And last night when you were sitting on that bench, was there a time that you just were itching to get on that park to make your mark? I
was, but I'm there to support the team. You know what I mean? Everyone's itching to get on, the same as me, same as the person next to me, whoever. Everyone's wanting to play. You know, that's part of football. Sometimes you've got to sit on the bench and you've got to watch them aside until your time comes, and then once you get your time, you've got to take your chance, don't you? And that's how it is.